Our God is a God of process. And if you don't understand his process, you may very well misunderstand him and begin to blame him. We all know how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. They wind themselves in the cocoon. They stay in the cocoon for some time. And when they hatch the cocoon, they come out as a beautiful butterfly. Now, there's a story of a man who saw the caterpillar trying to come out of the cocoon. He helped it and broke open the cocoon and just released the butterfly like that. When the butterfly tried to fly, it just fell to the ground. It didn't fly. Because little did he know, the process of that butterfly emerging from the cocoon, it strengthens the butterfly's wings. The butterfly's wings are getting stronger as it's trying to force that cocoon open. And so because the butterfly didn't go through that process, it just fell to the ground. It couldn't fly. The man, he tried to break the process and do it his own way, by his own reasoning. How many of us are just like that man? We need God to touch our walk. We need to cling to God, not try to control him. I want us to begin in Genesis chapter 25, verse 23. And it says, "And the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb. 2 peoples shall be separated from your body. 1 people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger." Jacob tried to secure this blessing through trickery. He tried to get it from his brother through deceptive means. But the promise had already been given. Why the need for deception? Why the need for trickery? Now, after this happened, we know the story that Esau was very mad. He pursued Jacob. He wanted to kill him. It was a serious family feud. And there came a point where Jacob was out in the wilderness and he was just about to meet Esau face to face after running from him. How many of us does that sound like? You got something through trickery and you end up running. One lie leading to the next, leading to the next, leading to the next. And sometimes you may find yourself in a place where it seems that you're trapped. This is where Jacob found himself. In Genesis chapter 32, verse 24. "Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. Now when he saw that he did not prevail against him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, 'Let me go, for the day breaks.' But he said, 'I will not let you go unless you bless me.' So he said to him, 'What is your name?' He said, 'Jacob.' And he said, 'You shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed.' Then Jacob asked, saying, 'Tell me your name, I pray.' And he said, 'Why is it that you ask about my name?' And he blessed him there. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. Just as he crossed over Peniel, the sun rose on him, and he limped on his hip." So we see that Jacob was there in a place. He's in the wilderness. He's all alone, and he's wrestling with this man. But this man is not any other man. He called the place Peniel because he met God face to face. He's wrestling with God. "I will not let you go unless you bless me." But didn't Jacob already receive the blessing? He thought that he tricked his father into giving him the blessing by pretending to be Esau. What he tried to get through trickery, it didn't work. He knew he didn't truly have the blessing because the blessing that he tried to get through deception kept him on the run. It kept leading him down the road of deception again, and again. It kept him caught in a cycle. He wasn't wrestling to get away from God. He was wrestling to get this blessing. He was clinging to him. He was clinging to God, clinging to him the more to get this blessing. People of faith, we need to cling to God and stop trying to control him. Jacob tried to obtain his blessing through his own strength. You know, the name Jacob means heel grabber. As Jacob was born, he was grabbing onto the heel of Esau. This was his identity from birth. Somebody who was trying to take things, do his own strength, do his own means, get it his way. That's how he came out of the womb. So God is asking him here, not just, what is your name because he wants to know his resume. No, he's asking him his name because he wants to know his identity. God now changes his name, and he said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, the heel catcher, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. Prevailing here doesn't mean that Jacob overtook God, that he beat God. It meant that Jacob stopped running and he started clinging. He stopped running from God, trying to do things and secure his blessing his own way. God touched his hip and his hip came out of joints. God brought Jacob to a place of surrender. That blessing that was promised to him since before he was born. He obtained it not by his own strength, by his own will, but only through surrender. People of faith, we can only obtain God's blessings through surrender, not by our own power or by our own might. Jacob limped like this for the rest of his life as a reminder that he must walk in humility to God. Sometimes we need God to change our walk. God will bring us through a struggle, not because he wants us to bring us down, but he wants to bring us to that place of surrender. A place where we realize that we need dependence on him. We must be dependent on him. We cannot rely on ourselves. We cannot rely on our education, on our position, on our background. You can only rely on God. He's not asking you to be clever. He is asking you to be faithful. Jacob was very clever. But it wasn't until he came to a place of surrender where he realized that no, it's about being faithful. People of faith, we need to be careful. Because whatever we obtain through deception, it requires deception in order to maintain it. If you think you're going to get something through deceptive means, if you will actually get that thing, you're going to have to continue to live a life of deceit, live a life of running. You see, some of us want a new season. We're praying to God, Lord, give me a new season in my life. But we want to keep the old habits. Many of us, we want a blessing without confession. We want elevation without surrender. We believe that we're going to walk with our chin in the air and get there. I'm going to do this. This line is true every time. That God can't heal what you keep hiding. Remember, God is asking everybody here, what is your name? Who do you identify as? We're not talking about your first name. No. Who do you identify as? Do you identify as fear? Do you identify as control? Do you identify as pride? Do you identify as manipulation? Do you identify as independence? Impatient? Our identity as Christians is found in surrender to Christ. You won't walk into your future the same way you walked in your past. It won't happen. God wants to change us from who we once were into whom he had destined us to be. Jacob was always destined. He always had that destiny. But he tried to do it his own way. He had to change. And that change only happened through struggle. Some of us get mad at God. Like, God, why this struggle? Why am I going through this struggle? Whereas God is allowing that struggle for a purpose. God allows the butterfly to struggle with the cocoon for a purpose. So many of us are praying, God, remove this struggle, whereas God wants to use that struggle to change you, to strengthen you, to prepare you for the next level of life, to prepare you for the struggles that are ahead. In the wisdom of God, Jacob received the blessing in God's presence just before confronting his brother that he tried to get the blessing from in the flesh. So God was preparing Jacob for a moment where trickery wouldn't work. Only transformation would. We need to be transformed. He is the potter. We are the clay. Allow him to mold you. Just as he molded Adam from the dust of the earth, allow him to mold you into his image. That can only happen through surrender. Stop trying to be like the clay that molds itself. Let the potter mold you. Let him form you into the beautiful vase that he has destined you to be. It may not be comfortable. It may not be pleasing, but in the end, it will be to his glory. God is not giving you something. He is making you someone. Are you ready to allow him to make you someone? Or are you just looking for something? When we look at the story of Jacob, we see that God promised the blessing from beginning. Then Jacob manipulated the blessing. But then God confronted his manipulation. And then when Jacob surrendered, he was able to finally obtain that blessing. Many of us, God is confronting now. He is confronting today. You have been trying to get things through your own strength, your own trickery. But God wants you to surrender today. God promised you the blessing. He wants to bring you through the process for you to obtain that blessing. And then he will perform the blessing. Begin and end with God. Begin in surrender with him. Surrender until the end. Not for a season. Not for a time. For a lifetime. A season is not going to work. You will find yourself more disappointed than you were before. Surrender to him for the rest of your life. And then nothing can happen to you outside of his will. Such a person who is living a life of surrender is able to take everything that happens as divine will. So people of faith, cling. Don't control. We need to hold on to him with everything that we have. You need to realize how much you need God in every little thing. Let us stop trying to direct him on how he should answer our prayers. Rather, let us just surrender. Just surrender and allow him to give you the blessing that he has intended for you, that he has promised for your life.